Thank you, Sergeant. Thank you so very much. Look at the time. It's 13 to the hour now. We'll take a break, and when we come back, I'll tell you where they are now, and we'll show you what they look like now. Stay with us.
Breakfast, lunch or dinner, Sky Mall is the place you have to be. From local to Caribbean to international cuisine, we offer a choice of over 150 menu items, deliciously and delightfully served in a comfortable environment for work colleagues, friends and family. The Sky Mall Food Court, Hackett Hall, opens from 7 a.m. till 9 p.m.
Do you have an idea for a business or have started a business? Are you between 18 and 30 years old? Then you need to contact YES, the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme. YES is a dynamic network of services creatively packaged for you, the young entrepreneur. YES offers critical, timely business solutions, specialized technical assistance in accounting, legal, and marketing, a practical entrepreneurial training program, and your own youth enterprise officer for one-on-one counseling and mentoring. Contact YES today at 535-3835 and get your business moving. The Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme, Ministry of Youth and Community Empowerment.
Do you love working with children? Why not volunteer to work at this year's National Summer Camp? Persons must be 16 years and older, available to work July 15th to August 16th. Be available to attend pre-camp training programs. To register, contact the Ministry of Youth and Community Empowerment at 535-3835 or email division.youth@barbados.gov.bv.
Now to go to the hour of 7 o'clock. This segment brings me immense pleasure because about 10 to 12 years ago I had the opportunity to meet with some young children. I call them children then because they were still in school. They were wearing their school uniforms and so forth, and they came on to Morning Barbados as budding leaders wanting to change the world, having a perspective on everything. And you should see them now. Krista Solan. Good morning, Krista.
Good morning.
She is now a clinical psychologist, and she has all the accolades that go with that. Next to her, right next to her, will be Mr. Rashid Drakes, who's the deputy now, and there was a name change, by the way, of the United Leaders, Youth Leaders of Barbados. And over here is... Good morning. Krista, you grew up.
Yes.
It is so good to see you.
Nice
What's
to
it
see
been
you
like dealing with the youth issues? Because I know you've never stopped.
Yes.
All these, what, 12 years or so now?
Yep. About 12. It's been very interesting. It's interesting now because no longer am I a young person, you know, talking about issues, but now in a position where I could make a difference. So it is a change because you're talking, people need to do this, we need this. One of the things for me for sure is that, you know, advocating for mental health. And one of the things I've had to do is to say, well, I have to do what I said I wanted, right? And recently volunteered with the Barbados Family Planning, and I do counseling for them for their Young Mothers program. So, you know, it's interesting, and the best part now is seeing people like Miles now. Miles is in his teens, and Miles is actually doing a Feed the Homeless program. Really? So now I'm just guiding and advising, but he's like how I was, you know, and it's really interesting.
Passion for change.
Oh yes.
Well, let's hear from Miles on that then. Miles, that's a big deal. Tell us about your inspiration for that and what it means for you to be able to make these changes.
Well, for me, we see a lot of issues going on, and most of the time we think somebody else is going to do it or fix the problem, but it all starts with us, right? And for me, seeing Krista and Rashid, they motivate us. It's never you can't do this or you're unable to do this. They always guide us in a way that we can always better ourselves and help people. For the Feed the Less Fortunate, our mandate for ULB is charity, right? And we call it Feed the Less Fortunate because the ones that come to our initiative are not always homeless. There are just some people that are unable to support and have those basic needs, right?
Yeah.
And we are able to support them, particularly the females, with our care packages for them, right? Sanitary napkins and
the like.
And the like, right?
And what about you, Miles?
Rashid.
You've grown up through this program as well, and you've seen the changes. You've even changed your name of the organization as well. What's been the greatest impact that this organization has had on you?
Well, when I look back, I see Mouse, I see myself. I remember in 2008, yes, it's over a decade, where I was at a yes.
Makes me feel old.
Me too.
A little boy coming onto the show, I remember.
Yes. Back at the Emerging Global Leaders program, where Çhærëßë was my mentor, and she invited me to come to the Emerging Global Leaders of Barbados back then, as we all know it. And since then, the program has changed. We used to meet in Queen's Park in our school uniforms. Now we meet at the St. Michael's School. And seeing myself in Mouse showed where I was and how it has impacted me.
What I love, Krista, about the program, you had a voice on everything that's happening in society. Charity is what? Miles is part of your focus now. Charity, but I'm sure you have a perspective on what's happening now in Barbados.
Listen, somebody I told recently, when the budget was going on, you should have seen our group chat. They're just going. They, you know, the tradition has continued. We don't have the space on television, but they're still talking. They're still very interested. Still lots of opinions. Now, what has been good is, as far as like youth policy, we've been invited to be the voice of youth on youth policy, on programming. When we started, we worked a lot with UNICEF and NCSA. We're still working with them. So when they have their youth programs, we're invited to share our opinions, even sometimes plan some of their events for them too, you know, so it's still continued.
There's a tremendous amount of concern about the youth behavior today. What is your group's policy on that now, and opinion?
Well, one of the things that we've, and it's not because I'm a psychologist, but one of the things just generally they've shared is, you know, from the time you go into primary school, problems don't start like that. You know, you're going to see some signs from before, and we're not able to address them early enough. The idea of having support, somebody to talk to, having good role models as well. If somebody joins a gang or somebody joins a group doing negative things, it's the need for belonging. It's a human need. And so if it's filled negatively, the idea is, could it have been filled positively? And not having, you know, those positive role models, and having specialists come in from the time you notice a problem. You know,
you mentioned noticing the problem, and I would imagine that would have to be at the earliest time, because you mentioned the primary level. Who do you think needs to be paying attention? Is it just parents? Is it teachers and parents? Teachers? What are your thoughts professionally?
I think it's everybody, really. You're going to see behavior at home. You're going to see behavior at school. I think the challenge is being able to access the help. I've always said, again, not because I'm a psychologist, but psychologists should never be out of work. Not in this climate, not when things are happening the way they're happening now. Even with the members of UILB, Rashid is now a police officer, and he, you know, he's always there to support them if something is going wrong. Sometimes I wouldn't know, but they know that they could pick up the phone and they could call him and talk to him if something is happening. A lot of young people don't have that, and that's the challenge. And then when they need to access the help, you really can't.
Yeah, so maybe more trained guidance counselors as well within the schools from the earliest possible time to give them an outlet?
Yes, for sure. I know that there are plans to do that, but then also consider there is a role for a clinical psychologist, for example, or a counseling psychologist. Guidance counselors can't do everything. It's the entire school body. When you realize that there's a problem that is too far gone at the time, or you can't handle it, you have to go to a professional. You can't just say, well, you know, let's ship them off to the guidance counselors. Then professionals need to be there. I was on I think it was a vlog, I guess, with Marcus Myers. And one of the things that we spoke about was the investment. Therapy lasts sometimes 14 sessions. You pay for those 14 sessions, and the cost will far be more beneficial than what could happen if somebody didn't go. So it can't be cost anymore. We need to do something, and do something now.
What are you hearing about your CARICOM counterparts and how they are tackling some of these youth concerns?
Well, I think we're in similar boats. A lot of talk has been mental health. Last year we did our annual Caribbean Youth Leadership Retreat, and so we have young people from the region come in, and a big hot topic was mental health as well, and having professionals come in, having good role models, having programs in place for young people to be part of. My former principal, Jeff Broom, said everybody in the school will be in an extracurricular activity. Now, I don't know if everybody did or not, but if we had a policy where from early we get young people into positive activities, you could have a change.
What's your perspective, Miles?
Got it. Good stuff.
Well, for us, activities, they give us an outlet, right, to channel that energy. For me, it was cadets and hockey, right, and the bonding that we shared with each other. It took our time, so we weren't able to be, engaged in that negative activities. We were exposed to positive role models, right, and we were able to look up to people. And for us, when we have someone to look up to, someone that's positive, right, that steers us in a whole new directive. Right?
Yeah, I think it's great too that Rashid is doing all he can still in his role as a police officer and just there as that mentor and support. So keep on keeping on. Yeah, Krista, thank you so much.
We've got to have you guys back for real. There's so much more you young people can share.
And there are lots of them too. Like this is Miles. There's so many. Trust me, we won't have enough time.
We'll talk.
We'll do more. All right, so we also want to give you a little more inspiration.